What's up? SandersRobin24 here. I'm here to give you a video responding to 4 videos, 3 of which were made by SandersRobin today and 1 by LV5454. Basically, the entire talk was started by, if you haven't heard, SandersRobin calling ROH this year the worst one in company history, and then he analyzed the roster and even made the statement of WWE 2011 is better than Ring of Honor 2011. LV responded to SandersRobin saying that he disagreed and ROH was better by a long shot, if I'm interpreting it correctly. Now, I also want to start with, I think, a very good point of LV's video, that he came out and said this is straight his opinion. Same with mine, as all my videos are. I think it's kind of implied if you make a video on YouTube, but obviously some people don't get that. I first want to point out, you see this shirt I'm wearing? Chikara. Yeah, I think that kind of says my standpoint on this a little bit. Ring of Honor this year, I'm going to kind of disagree with Robin in a sense and agree with him. Ring of Honor this year is very, very unlike, I think is a good word, not worse, maybe unlike every other year in Ring of Honor history. Even when they had the HDNet deal, their focus was never HDNet. Or they never built it through HDNet. But they are building, all their shows, or the big show in Final Battle, which is a good point in its own, through the Sinclair shows, and I can watch them, so I've been following along. I'm in the middle of the episode where the main event is World's Greatest Tag Team versus ANX, and then the next week is Davey and Elgin. I'm in the middle of that show, though. If you watch Ring of Honor's TV show, and you cannot tell me what date, time, city, and at least 2 matches on the card for Final Battle are, you aren't paying good enough attention. Literally, every other frickin' sentence has to do with Final Battle. And that is their focus. And because of that, I'm not judging Ring of Honor this year until I see Final Battle. I'll actually be attending Final Battle still. If you see me, please come up to me, yada, yada, yada. Final Battle has to deliver on a huge standpoint because of this focus. Final Battle needs to be maybe spectacular. If literally the feel of the company, throwing away, not necessarily throwing away, but Okay, throwing away. I'll probably say it. Throwing away shows like Glory by Honor. Throwing away, debut shows, which have to be great in a sense. Not throwing them away, in the sense of we kind of know where they're going, because the TV show is a little bit more advanced than the house show. For example, in the main event of Glory by Honor, did anyone think Generico was taking the belt off of Davey? When they already are announcing Richards vs. Edwards 3, the main event of that show could have still been that, but it should have been done in a different way, especially with everything that happened with Steen. And that's another point that I'll make in a little while. But definitively, I will say that this is not the worst year in Ring of Honor history. I do think 08 is worse. And I'm not going to criticize years like 02, 03, and 04, because I feel that's apples and oranges. I don't want to go back that far. But a year like 2008, I feel, is a little bit worse, in the sense of that, it's very similar. I'm still going to call 11 the second worst year by far. And 08 did have a little bit of problems in it as well. If you look at the whole reason why Gabe Sapolsky was fired, and this is a point that I actually disagree with Robin about, he said that it was a mistake to fire Gabe Sapolsky. I don't think so at all. I think literally Ring of Honor needed to change that bad that you fire the booker that made Ring of Honor Ring of Honor. And there's things that Gabe's strengths some of them have not been renewed, hence talent, why the roster is so saturated as it is right now. And in a sense, Gabe did book better feuds. The one example that is outstanding of that is Steen and Generico. And you can make the case Steen and Generico is the best feud in Ring of Honor history. But that was just because you had 2 of the best in the world today working in a feud against each other, and it had been nothing you had seen in any other company. So, and I've been to see a feud on the indies that translates in one company and is kind of in the same, used in PWG like it is. That's how good that feud was. But, 2008 also, just sitting through some of those shows, like Age of Insanity outside of Generico and McGuinness. What's that next show called? Night of the Butcher 2. like those shows. There's never been there this year. There has never been two shows like that to sit through, and that is why I think maybe 08 is a little worse. Yes, the first part of 08, and probably one of the best shows in Ring of Honor history, Supercard of Honor, did take place in 08. But in terms of the overall feel, it's very similar to 2011. And I'd say it's a little bit worse because you don't have that show like a Final Battle to save it, like the TV show could. The TV is very compelling, I feel at least. Yes, there are a lot of problems with the TV show, but at the very least, I want to keep up with it and I want to watch it more so than Raw, Impact, or anything, really. More than the Infinities for Dragon Gate. Basically because, Dragon Gate, I still love Dragon Gate, and it's definitely Dragon Gate Japan is definitely having a better year than Ring of Honor. But just it's not worth keeping on the Infinities for me right now. I don't know why, but Dragon Gate USA is a whole different argument. I'm not excited about that company at all at the moment, but that's basically because of the business side of it, and I think Robin hit the nail on the head on it. But 2012 does look very, very bright for them because I think Johnny Gargano is freaking amazing, and he's definitely the right man to be the champion in that company. But in terms of 2011, the big problem is the roster. And I agree with that. During the first part of the year, if you told me that the roster would be oversaturated by the end of the year, I would have told you were nuts. But usually, within every year in Ring of Honor history, and including 2002 and 2003, you can say there was some evolution of the roster throughout the entire year. Like, if you say who the main focal points were, if you take January 1st, who are the main focal points in Ring of Honor? What's going on? It would not be the same answer, maybe not even close, at the end of the year. This year it is. Focal points, Richards. Steen I'd still say is a focal point and just got out of the main event. Generico I still say is a little bit of a focal point. He's been the most consistent guy in the company. Edwards was a focal point. Strong is still a focal point. Those really haven't changed. And you can say there's a little bit of the feel of the company is different just by the tone it sets. Even in a year like 2008, I'll say, for example, this is maybe why I'd say maybe they're tied, or maybe you could even say it's a little bit better, but I really wouldn't because, certain things going on this year. Always still a little bit worse, in my opinion. McGinnis was face, or on the way to the heel, at the beginning of 2008. By the end of 2008, you look at his title defense against Marufuji. He's full-blown heel. He's, just on point as champion. Totally different feel. With Tyler Black chasing him and just so many great things like that. I would still call Ring of Honor good this year. I would. Because you have guys like the Adam Coles and the Kyle O'Reillys, the El Genericos, the Jay Lethals, the Davey Richards, that are still giving me a reason to watch this company. But in a sense, you could still say that, it hasn't been up with, past years, 2010 was just a phenomenal year for that company. Highlighted by the Steen Generico feud. Tyler Black, kicking ass as champion. Even Strong as champion, I thought was pretty good in 2010. And you had highlight shows, Death Before Dishonor during that year. Fucking phenomenal. Final Battle, great. You have shows like that, and a lot of them that were just great. This year, the live events are still a little behind. Both WrestleMania weekend shows were great. Manhattan Mayhem 4 was great. Death Before Dishonor, great. You still have shows like that. So, yeah. I was thinking about Robin's point about the roster. He said if anybody else should leave, and actually the two guys he sounded most opposed to were Truth Martini. I'll say three: Martini, Bennett, and Charlie Haas. And I hate to say this, I agree pretty much on all three. And I hate to say this because based on the way the TV show is being built, I don't think any of the three are going anywhere anytime soon. If I was a betting man, I'd say Bennett's winning the TV title at Final Battle based off of how they're building it. It probably shouldn't go to Generico, and unless Lethal retains, I don't know how it would go. I hope I'm wrong, but if I was a betting man, I'd say Bennett's going to win it, unfortunately. Truth Martini, they've done something very interesting that I think not a lot of people have noticed. That I think the HOT is going to get involved in that Edwards Richards match at Final Battle somehow. I really do think so. They keep mentioning, if Strong could have finished this guy off by now, Strong, could have done this. Elgin is so much better. It really is interesting. And that's why I think Final Battle has to deliver on all aspects. And it can't be lacking. Even like the least built towards match, which is Ciampa and Rave, even is like, it's still interesting, because I like consistency and congruency in companies' histories. That's why Chikara is so great. You never found out why Rave left the embassy in '06, and he's coming back now to face the new Jimmy Rave in a sense, and Ciampa. I still find that very, very interesting. And Jimmy Rave does look very good. He did look very, very. That promo was very Jimmy Rave-esque. He's able to cut a lot of good promos. So, but roster-wise, coming in, I have no idea why they never signed AR Fox. He's maybe outside of Michael Elgin, my favorite guy to watch in the ring right now, or at least one that I had just taken a recent liking to. And kept on, watching. AR Fox is unlike any guy in Ring of Honor currently. He in shape, an amazing high flyer, he can cut good promos. A guy like him, putting him in a match against Shelton Benjamin would probably be really good. A guy like Sami Callihan has a completely different look. He has his moves set down. He has the psychology and gimmick part of his. Of a wrestling, of a wrestler down pat, and you can say, even when he came in 2008, he was not that good at all. But you can say, took a couple years away from Ring of Honor, came back and was an absolute force. I'd love to have him back. A guy like Gargano, he's more built for a Ring of Honor style than a Dragon Gate style, and that's probably why he's the best man to be that champion, because he can wrestle the Dragon Gate style with an ROH, type background. His moveset is very Ring of Honor-esque, and how it's innovative and how he uses it on offense is just, I don't know why he's not in this company. They dropped the ball on a guy like Jon Moxley, who's now on the main roster for WWE. But a guy like Chuck Taylor, I think he'd be useful. Rich Swann, maybe. If you brought in Oliver Ronan, I think he'd be very useful in that role. And a guy like Icarus, I think he could be used great in Ring of Honor. As an absolute just beast as a heel. He draws so much heel heat, and you really don't have a guy that can do that. When Steen comes back, he'll be able to do that, and he can be maniacal and just nasty, and he'll take that role greatly. I'm trying to think of other guys. Guys like 3.0 in Chikara. There's not a guy tag team like that. I think they do what the Bravados are trying to do better. Trying to think. Just guys like that, a guy like Willie Mack, Robin brought this up. Willie Mack, I think he'd be great in Ring of Honor. Just guys like that. There's guys to get out there. I'm trying to think of more. I'm trying to think. I saw on PWI Insider a couple weeks ago that they're trying to bring in old WWE guys or something like that, or WCW guys for the taping in Baltimore that I'm going to be first row for, coming up in January 7th, 2012 for Ring of Honor. And I'm interested to see who they bring in, because if it's the right guys, or maybe even girls, who knows, it could work. There's a rumor, I think Maria coming into Ring of Honor because she's like the legit girlfriend. I was talking about this on Twitter, of Mike Bennett now, and that's another reason why I think he might win the TV title, unfortunately. But as a whole this year, Ring of Honor is not that bad. You're used to excellence in Ring of Honor, and I get that, and that's why it's not up to that standard, and that's why maybe people are feeling that way. But I will say, actually, I'll make this argument right now. Final Battle does not deliver. This is the worst year in Ring of Honor history, no doubt, because of the new focus. Without Final Battle delivering, there is no point for the past. There's no point for ROH TV at all. I'll say that. Because that is the complete focus of every show. How does this relate to Final Battle? How does this relate to Final Battle? Literally, that's all they do. Inside Ring of Honor for the past, I guess, 9 weeks, is Final Battle, Final Battle. This is Final Battle. Final Battle is literally the other word out of their mouth. But because of that, Final Battle needs to deliver. You saw what happened to TNA. They went in that direction, went down the shitter. Ring of Honor, I don't think that will happen. Look at the main. I think I can't speak. Richards versus Edwards 3 on paper looks phenomenal. And the Dan Severn storyline, I'm interested to see where it goes. Could this have been better? Absolutely. But I'm still interested, it's a different type of storyline. It's simple and different, and that's why I think they need for Richards versus Edwards. The Briscoes and Haas and Benjamin. The Briscoes need to win this match. They need to get that belts off of Haas and Benjamin. I'm sorry. The tag team division at the top is stale, but everywhere else under it is on fire. With guys like Cole and O'Reilly, guys like the Briscoes. I think even in a sense ANX. I think honestly, you need to build towards a huge Briscoes Cole and O'Reilly title match. They have faced before. I was live for their first ever match, and it was phenomenal in Atlanta. So I think doing stuff like that will be better. I'm trying to think. When Kevin Steen comes back, I'll make an argument as well. If Kevin Steen is not the world champion by the end of 2012 in Ring of Honor, I'll be absolutely shocked. I think he's a guy to take it off of Davey. I originally did say Michael Elgin, but I didn't think they'd go this route with Kevin Steen as well. So maybe you can have an Elgin break away from the HOT face turn and him get a little more personality and take a belt off of Steen. Maybe that'll work. But I'm also really enticed to see what happens with not the TV title match, that tag team match final battle. It's a little different. I'd be shocked if the Young Bucks don't win it, or Cole and O'Reilly. It should be one of the two. I don't really think ANX should win it. And the other two, who are the other two tag teams in that match? Coleman Alexander and the Bravados, maybe. If I'm forgetting someone, sorry, but in any suit, whatever. That match is very interesting because that could shape the future of the tag team division a little bit, and I'm interested to see how that would work. So, yeah, Final Battle still does look fucking phenomenal, though, and I'll make my preview video for that coming up. But let's go to the argument now of WWE being better than ROH this year. That's crossing it for me. WWE this year has been sucky. Yes, you can look at with the whole CM Punk stuff, but that was, 2 months, and you can say that Ring of Honor has done better this entire year, consistently better than ruining the CM Punk stuff. So WWE has been not that good to me. Actually, as a matter of fact, on right now, as I'm taping this video, is TLC, a pay-per-view that I said I would go to a couple months ago, or maybe even sooner than that. But especially because I go to college in the Baltimore area, it's very easy for me to go to that pay-per-view. But I'm not there. I'm making a video instead because I have no interest in that show whatsoever. Outside of the purpose of seeing guys live that I'd want to see, there is zero purpose in going to that show. Zero. Or me seeing a ladder match live for the first time, or something like that. Something token that could probably happen again. I have no interest in going to that show. And Drew Slater said this in his video today that I actually really liked. If WWE doesn't give a shit, why should I give a shit? You can at least tell that Ring of Honor gives a shit. But there are companies that do better this year, like PWG and Chikara, that I'll say up front that, Steen Wolf, I still haven't seen. Something happened with the mail messing it up, but I can't freaking wait to watch that show. There's a lot of stuff that is going on that, is better than Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor does need to improve a lot. I understand that, but one of the companies that it has been better than is WWE. And that is my opinion. Just WWE is just, right now. I haven't watched an episode of Raw because I can barely sit through it since September, if not before. Impact, I don't even watch TNA. I can't even tell you the world champions right now. Maybe Bobby Roode. I know he had something with AJ Styles. I don't really know. Since they ruined the whole Bobby Roode thing, I just have been not even reading the spoilers for TNA anymore. Just it's like TNA, yay. Who gives a shit? Honestly, that's what I feel about TNA right now. But yeah, I still gotta make the video coming up on my end of the year countdown, the huge plug video we gotta make, and everything else that's going on that I need to catch up on from the past couple months. But I really want to make this video since it's some good discussion going on with Ring of Honor right now, and I think giving some constructive criticism and helping them out could go a long way. I'm not saying they are watching our videos entirely, but I'm saying getting some effort out there from all of us, and maybe that'll do a little something. hopefully. That's all I ever ask, so. Oh well, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys later.